So with the release of Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, it really signals two main shifts in the game. While in previous decades seeing a compilation book such as a rules or spell compendium would be the death knell of that edition before they publish a new edition of the game, with this book it's not only a consolidation of monster listings from Volo's Guide to Monsters and Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, it's also a consolidation of character race options, which I think is the main selling point of the book for me. There is a general update to the format innate and acquired spells are listed in the stat blocks of monsters, which is a bit more clear-cut for how these fit into the combat system. There is a shift away from the consigned alignments for many of the intelligent creatures, but most importantly, and the real reason this book has come along, is that it signals not a shift to a new rules edition, but a shift away from using the Forgotten Realms as the default official world setting for the game. It's right there in the name. They are literally telling us that the game is now focused more on multiversal play, because they are probably a bit tired of old school gamers ragging on them about covering more of the Forgotten Realms lore than they have been. It also allows them to develop new world settings and convert existing world setting lore from Magic the Gathering card game franchise into D&D sourcebooks that anyone can slot into their games. So we're not going to see 6th edition D&D just yet, but we are now in the era of 5.5 D&D. Looking at the player character options in this book, a lot of the changes there are to make these races world setting agnostic. So this is not a Forgotten Realms tabaxi or an Eberron changeling, but it's not a complete conversion. For instance, there are no Warforged here, but there are more monstrous races like the Centaur, the Toril, the Heron, and the Bugbear. The second major rules change here for the playable races is the bonuses to their ability scores. These are not restricted anymore. You have 3 points that you can assign either +2 and 1 attribute and +1 to another, or 3 +1 bonuses where you like. This places the customization and choice of background firmly in the player's hands, and I think is a general improvement that doesn't change much in practical gameplay, though I'm pretty sure there will be lots of moaning and complaining about it. Hey man, back in the day, after you reached a certain level and had these high attribute scores, just maybe the DM would let you play a Cavalier character class. D&D used to be way more restrictive on your options in building a non-human character as well. These races are being integrated with the online character building software hosted by D&D Beyond. What we don't see in Mordenkainen Presents are the Thri-kreen, which makes them more specific to the world of Athos and the Dark Sun setting. But more importantly, it means that any predictions that races from Star Frontiers are going to be brought back as members of these multiversal races is over, so no Vrusk, Yazirians or Drellicites and so on. We have races from the Feywild, Shadowfell and the Astral Plane and Limbo. But the intention here is to represent these races as those who originated on alternate parallel dimensions, but are now more naturalized to the prime material plane. And the designers have outright stated this as a fact for the lore on the origin of all the goblinoid races. To me, it seems absolutely inevitable now that Dungeons & Dragons is gearing up to expand into the Magic the Gathering franchise and vice versa, which I'm absolutely fine with. At no point is anyone forced to include anything they don't like in their actual games. Everything in these books are just options. They can't hurt you. Dungeons & Dragons has always been evolving to be looser, more narrative-focused game system. The rules mechanics in past editions used restrictions more to enforce the lore behind each race and class. For example, the whole idea of prerequisite class levels and feat selections to unlock prestige classes in 3.5 edition D&D. These have been simply built into each class as advanced subclass options, which occurs much earlier in the campaign now, so the players get to play the sort of character they really want to play much earlier. What I would like to see is some acknowledgement from Wizards of the Coast that this is in fact their planned road ahead. I'd also like to see some clarification on whether it's still the Phlogiston Sea taking characters between these worlds, or if we should now be thinking about the transitive planes of the Astral, Ethereal and Limbo as the new Phlogiston hyperspace.